Hey everybody, it's review number 5 technically of the Boosted Board review series, but this is actually part 2 of review number 4. I had to break it up because it was too long, but I am going over a lot of information, so please keep that in mind. I'm trying to get as much stuff in there for you guys as possible. So today we're going over the deck and the battery. So you guys are going to get a lot of information in this video about what's actually going on in the deck, what's going on in the battery, what's going on in the motor. So before we get started, I do have to mention that I had to redo the intro for this video specifically for a reason, and it probably will be released later as a result of which, and I apologize for that. But I also apologize for making a mistake in my last video with the information I provided about the remote. But I want to give a quick shout out and a quick thank you to Justin Milne. Thanks, man, for commenting and correcting me, and he tells us, I'm going to quote him because I always quote you guys, "You did miss something. To change modes in the opposite direction from the remote, hold the wheel in full reverse and press the button 3 times, like the home button 3 times. This will take you from Pro to Eco. Hey, thank me in the next video." So Justin Milne, thank you. Justin let me know that this information wasn't available in the guide, and I tried to look in it. I couldn't see anything about in the guide that stated it. He found it out through one of his buddies in their Facebook group. So I want to give a quick shout out to Justin's Facebook group. All you people in the UK, even if you're not in the UK, I highly recommend join Justin's Facebook group. I put the link in the description down below. And not just that, join the New York, join the Chicago, join the Boston, join all the Boosted Board Facebook groups, because they all actually do provide a lot of great information, a lot of great places to ride. If people run into trouble with their boards, they get all that information that they need. People post videos, it's great. So really try to join your local Boosted Board Facebook group. If there isn't one, be the person to make it. Thank you again, Justin, and thank you to all you viewers who comment and let me know and correct my mistakes, because I actually do appreciate that. That being said, let's get started with today's review. Okay, so the deck is made by a company called Loaded. Now this deck is pretty special in 2 ways. One, Loaded isn't a #1 top skate longboard brand, so maybe there's nothing special there, but the board itself is actually made in a special way, and I'll explain that. Most of you probably have already seen videos of boosted boards, and the deck is super flexible, and you might wonder why that is. And a lot of you are thinking, oh, well, it's a bamboo board. Of course, it's a bamboo board, and that does put in a certain aspect to the flexibility and the strength. But the main difference between this board and other boards is the way the bamboo is tiled and laid out. So most boards, the bamboo or the wood would be laid out horizontally. The boosted board is actually laid out vertically. So everything is tiled across this way in strips. And that allows for more flexibility. That being said, the deck is interesting in another way. As you can see, the battery pack's on this side and the motor's on this side. So they're not connected, so how is the motor running? Well, what you don't see are 4 wires that extend from the battery pack inside the board all the way across towards the motor. And those 4 wires then prong into the motor, and that's how they get the energy or boost from the battery pack. Now, I did notice something a while back, and now I know what it was. I was riding the boosted board up a hill, and it started to get really hot. Like the deck started to get really hot in the back portion. And now I know that it was the 4 wires that are running through the boosted board deck. They were heating up for some reason. I guess I was giving them too much to handle, or they were pumping a lot of battery energy into the motor to get me up that hill. So that's what that heat issue was. Other than that, those 4 wires also extend vertically, so across the board, so keep that in mind. Dual Plus, on the deck, you get extra traction grip tape. And I love extra traction grip tape. My old board has it, this one has it. Just a little heads up about extra traction grip tape. If you're not used to it, you might actually cut up your hands a little bit. It's sandpaper. It's like thick sandpaper almost. If you hold your board against your body, you are gonna tear up some of your clothes. I've had this just happen in general from skating and stuff. Once you have that thicker grip tape, you kind of got to watch out for those things. You might get cut up a little bit. I do recommend it. There's no weight limit to the board, right? But there is a bottom out limit. You're a heavier person, this thing is going to be U-shaped. You can definitely expect it to bounce, and you're going to bounce and bash that battery and scrape the bottom of the battery and the deck and the board. So when you hear that there's no weight limit, yeah, there's no weight limit, but I mean, I'm not that heavy and I never really have bottom out issues, and I've gotten scratches already on this board. So you got to understand that especially if it's new to you, you're not going to know, and you're going to ride this thing and you're going to tear it up. The next portion, and the very last portion that we will talk about, is the battery. We don't have the 12-mile battery, we have the 6-mile battery, so we're only going to focus on this sucker. I roughly, on average myself, personally am finding that I'm actually getting 4.5 miles out of it, but it's not because it can't do 6 miles, it's because I live in a mountain type area. Everywhere that I go, there's hills to go up and down at the same time. What I do want to mention to you is the battery regeneration. So the braking system that regenerates the battery. And you know, you're like, oh yeah, great, when I go downhill, I could use this regenerative braking system. It's great. Well, what if you live in a place that has no real hills and is mainly all flat? Those of you who live in a flat area, have no hills, no mountains, you're not going to get any use out of the battery regeneration system. I, on the other hand, get plenty of use out of it. I live at the top of a mountain. When I charge up my board, I only charge it up to 80%, because when I leave the house and I go down that mountain, I gain 20% battery life by the time I get to the bottom from all the braking and just going down the hill. I am happy with its performance, I will say that much. It does perform well, it gets the job done, it's easy to charge. Oh, a lot of people were complaining back in reviews that I watched about the little flap for the charge port on the battery, that it would always fall off or come off. I don't know if maybe it used to be flawed, but I think they've resolved that because my board doesn't do that at all. Beauty of it is though, when I do leave the house at 80%, get to the bottom of that hill, and I get 100% battery life. So from that point on, I have 100%, which is great, but it also hinders me because I have to always keep an eye on how much I've charged the board, and oh, if I overcharge it and I want to go down the hill, I gotta go up the hill first for a bit and, you know, offload some of that battery power. As I said, if you live in a flat area that doesn't have many hills or no hills at all, like you live in a prairie area or something like that, where it's just all flats, then this is not, this is probably something that you shouldn't consider as a pro or con. It shouldn't even be a factor. It's kind of as relevant for you as the wheels being orange. You know, it's cool that it's there, but you're not going to make use out of it. So keep that in mind. I'm just trying to be realistic for you guys and try to give you guys a perspective of an end user viewpoint. The battery has 2,000 watts of power compared to the Dual only has 1,500 watts. The Dual Plus will get you going faster by a couple miles, But the important part, and this, I will tell you, this is the bigger factor. Forget the mileage and the speed. It's the uphill incline that's going to make the difference between whether you should get the Dual or the Dual Plus. If you live in a flat area, like super flat area, you don't need the Dual Plus. If you're budgeting and you want to cut costs but you really want a boosted board, then just go for the Dual. You'll be good with it. If you live like me in a place like Vancouver, there's mountains nearby, hills, common, San Francisco, whatever, you'll definitely want to get the Dual Plus. That added wattage, that's kind of like your drive there. That's what's going to boost you up those steep hills. I actually have 2 routes that I can take back up the hill or up the mountain, and I choose to take a slightly longer route because it's less steep, and as a result of which I actually get further than if I took the shorter route and went up the steeper hill. Because the steeper hill kills so much battery that taking the longer route actually would save me more battery. So be aware of those kinds of options too. You may have to reroute or change the routes you take to benefit how far you can take your board from where you are. The good thing about the battery though is it only weighs 4 pounds. And to put that in perspective, the battery for mellow boards, for example, those things weigh up to 8 pounds each, and you got 2 of those on a mellow board, which means that just the batteries alone on that board weigh a total of 16 pounds. The boosted board weighs about 15 pounds or just over that in total for the whole board, and 4 of those pounds come from the 6-mile battery. If you add the 12-mile battery, sorry, it's only 5 pounds. So the skid plates actually sit right in front and cover the area of the belt drives in the back, and I'm actually really disappointed about this factor. I haven't had the board for even a month and it's scraping. I'm pretty sure it's mainly from rocks and pebbles popping and hitting them because of the way the scrapes are laid out. I've already ordered my next 2 sets of skid plates because I just wanted to be prepared. As you guys saw in my other videos, I had already pre-ordered the service kit, for example. Honestly, like, if I ride this thing regularly for another month, I think I would have to definitely change the skid plates. In my opinion, I wish Boosted Board did one thing. I wish that they gave you more things with your Boosted Board. Like an extra set of skid plates when you first order them. If I'm spending this much money, I should get a spare set of skid plates. I should get the Allen key. I should get a little wrench of sorts to open up the wheels if I need to. And that just to me is basic common courtesy. Boosted Board, if you guys are listening, maybe you could fix that aspect. Okay, so now let's quickly talk about what's inside the battery pack and what's inside the motor and that motor area, that motor pack area. Okay, so in here, everyone assumes it's 1 lithium battery. It's not. It's actually 4 lithium batteries that are stacked across, and that's where the 4 wires also feed from. Each one has a positive and negative, I guess, going through on 1 cord. So that's why there's 4 cords inside the deck, as mentioned. All right, and then there's also a circuit board that all 4 of those battery packs are connected to. Then you move across the board, the wires come down and feed into another circuit board on this side here. And inside that, there's 2 AA batteries. They must be rechargeable, or those batteries that come in the plastic casing. I'm pretty sure they're a AA format. But that's what's in there, so if you're curious to know, that's exactly what's going on. If you feel your deck getting hot, if you do buy a boosted board and you feel your deck getting hot because you're going uphill, then you have the same problem I had. So keep that in mind and try to maybe not have that happen, because the last thing you need is your board to maybe catch fire. I don't think it would. I think it would overheat or something before it did that. But that's one negative, I guess, about the board. But the pros outweigh the cons, that's for sure. So that's the segment about the battery. And that's the end of the segment of part 2, so of the specs and details. So I hope you guys got all the information you needed as far as specs and details go, and I thank you for watching the video. And as always, we're going to do another highlight reel right at the end of this video because I really appreciate you guys watching, and I know you guys love seeing the rides and stuff like that. So thank you for watching, and let's go to the highlight reel now. So that's it for today's review. I hope you enjoyed it. Once again, please subscribe, like, share, comment. If I missed anything, let me know. I will give you a shout out for sure. And if you already haven't watched my other review videos, please take a moment to do so. There's valuable information in every video of this series.